Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Mama! Mama!
Yes?
What time's the kitchen clock say?
Same as the clock in your room.
Clock in my room doesn't say anything. David forgot to wind it last night.
It's 6:40.
Is that all?
What time would you like it to be?
At least 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock's a nice round time. I always like 7 o'clock myself.
David will be home by 7. He'll be sitting there in that big chair, drawing on his pipe, telling me everything that happened today.
You mean you'll be pulling it out of him with all your questions?
What do you mean David's not the kind of man you pull things out of? Hey, what are you doing?
Getting ready to get dinner ready. Any objections?
No, I'll help.
Oh, thank you, no.
Thank you. No, why not?
You've got a lovely habit of getting exactly between me and what I'm doing.
It's taken me years to perfect it. I'm glad to see you've noticed.
I don't know what you're going to do when you're in a kitchen of your own and there's no one around for you to disturb.
I don't know what I'm going to do either.
You'll manage.
If I don't, it'll be all your fault.
Mine.
Mm-hmm. These last 2 weeks that David and I have been living with you, I haven't learned one thing about housekeeping. As a matter of fact, I've forgotten everything I did know.
That must have been a great effort.
It was, but I managed.
And that's my fault.
Of course it is. You hardly let me help you at all.
Easier to do it myself. Been doing it myself for years.
I know. That's what makes me feel so guilty.
Oh, what are you kicking about? You've helped. You made the beds, and you did the dusting.
Oh, dusting's not anything. It's just taking dust from one place and putting it in another, that's all.
That's when you do it.
I suppose when you do it, it disappears. Poof, like smoke.
Never thought of using a damp rag, did you?
That's quite an idea.
Try it tomorrow. See what happens.
I will. David and I'll leave this apartment absolutely dustless. Wait and see. Dustless and quiet.
Delightful change, thank you.
You're welcome. And you'll be welcome at our place anytime.
Very kind of you.
Anytime, anytime.
Claudia. You've got a little stage fright about moving away, haven't you?
Nonsense, have I?
Well, you should have.
Should I? I thought I was just being a big sissy.
This is one of those times when being a sissy is a little wiser than not being one. At least it shows that you've got a sense of responsibility. And a husband, even David, is a responsibility.
Husband. My husband. Does that sound funny to you, too?
Yes, I'll admit it does.
It sounds so married.
Marriage is like that. At least it will be for you, starting tomorrow.
That's just what I mean, Mama. So far, living here with you has been just like a beautiful holiday. Do you realize I never house-kept for a man before? After tomorrow, I'll be up to my ears in it.
I realize it. David does, too. That's why I've been feeding him up.
Mama, you'll help me, won't you, if I get in a mess?
What do you think?
I think you're very fond of David, and you wouldn't want to see him starve all of a sudden.
I'm very fond of David, but you're wrong. I'd rather see him starve in your home than get him fat in mine. I think he'd rather, too.
Did anybody ever tell you you're a heartless woman?
I wish I were.
Well, cheer up, you are. David said so last night.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait till I get my hands on him.
You shouldn't have long to wait. He'll be home any time. Tell me, you like this green dress on me, Mama?
It's all right. Nothing to brag about.
David said I look like a string bean in it. Say, am I always going to look like a string bean? I thought getting married would help.
Cheer up. Someday you look like a lima bean.
You know, speaking in vegetables, I think I'd rather look like an artichoke heart. More like a squash, even. You know, one of those nice curvy squash with small waists.
I think David will settle for the string bean and like it.
He'll have to, I'm afraid. Maybe I can see him coming up the street.
Don't fall out.
Why should I fall out? What time is it now?
Exactly 1 minute later than it was a minute ago.
Oh, is that all it is again?
Claudia, are you still leaning out that window? Don't lean out so far. You worry me to death.
I'm all right.
You want to be here when David comes, don't you?
Uh-huh.
Then stop performing like a trapeze artist.
I can't understand why he isn't home.
It's still early.
It is not. It's way after 7 o'clock.
Well, close the window. It's getting too cool.
All right.
And stop walking around like that. You're wearing the carpet thin.
Carpet, that's a fine thing to think of at a time like this.
Somebody's got to think of the carpet.
You're worried, too.
Ridiculous.
I know you are. No use bluffing me.
Think you're smart, don't you?
Just because you blame it on the carpet doesn't mean I can't tell you mean David. Oh, Mommy, you don't suppose that
No, I don't suppose that.
It's funny. This morning he said, if I don't go now, I'll never...
What?
I'll never come home.
Oh, you little fool. Well, did he go now?
Almost.
For you two, that's as good as now.
I think I'll call his office.
And what'll you say?
Simple as Mr. David Naughton there. You look out the window while I call, would you, Mama? If you see him, I can hang up.
And if he's not at his office, you'll feel much worse.
Then maybe they'll tell me he left late.
But maybe they won't.
I'll have to take the chance. Go on, Mama. Look up the street, will you? You see him?
No.
He walks very straight, but his right foot turns out a little.
No, David. May I come back in now?
Suppose you might as well.
Well, what did the office say? How long ago did he leave?
There's no answer. They've all left.
Of course they have.
It's getting really late, Mama.
Where are you going now?
Look at the clock.
That won't help. Looking at the clock never helps.
Mama, it's getting on 8.
Oh, that kitchen clock gains like crazy.
Well, the roast doesn't gain time.
Since when does a roast tell time?
Since now it's all dried out.
I put it in too early.
No, that's not it. David's home too late.
And while you're up, Claudia, baste the roast, will you?
All right. But I'll have to add water. The gravy's almost gone.
Use some stock from the icebox.
I know. All of it?
How much is there?
Not much.
Then use all of it.
There. Looks awfully cooked still. Anything else?
My knitting. Over there on the bookcase.
Mama, I never thought that sometimes it'd be awful to love someone so much.
I know.
Everything gets different. Every minute's so terribly important.
You'll get used to it.
Never. You know, in a way, I hope not.
You will, though. A little in time.
Mama, did I keep you waiting often?
No, not often.
Suppose something has. What if he...
It hasn't.
How can you be so sure? You're not really, are you?
Of course I am. I'm going into that kitchen this minute and put in the potatoes.
Putting in the potatoes won't prove anything. Is your knitting. Oh, Mama, it must have been terrible for you.
What do you mean, terrible?
You had to wait for me all alone. At least I've got you to talk to.
Thanks.
What if this had happened after we moved away from here? If I had to be alone now, waiting all by myself, I don't know what I'd do.
You'll be alone many times, Claudia. And you'll manage.
Will I? It's getting so late.
Claudia, maybe David met someone he knows. Let the poor boy alone.
That's not like David. Besides, he'd have called.
It's only 7:45.
You say 7:45 because you think it sounds less late than 7:45. I know. It's more than a whole hour since he should have been here.
Maybe he had to see a contractor about something or other.
He'd have called.
All right. If it makes you feel better, go on and worry.
Don't you scold me. I get it from you.
Oh, I don't see why you couldn't have inherited any of my better qualities.
Which?
Well, try to list them.
Uh-huh.
Could you list yours?
Well, certainly I could.
Well, go on.
Oh, too many to think of.
No, you're perfect. Claudia, why are you closing your eyes like that?
Just imagining David walking up the street, coming up in the elevator, opening the door, kissing me.
That doesn't need so much imagination.
And now I'm going to get up from this chair, walk over to that window, open it, look out, and see David walking up the street.
Well?
He's not. It didn't work.
What didn't work?
David, I didn't hear you come.
Hello, darling. Darling, don't be so.
David, I was so worried.
There. I know you were. Hello, Mother.
You're a fine one, David Naughton. I let you marry my daughter, and the first thing you do is worry me half to death.
Don't scold me, Ma. Don't scold me.
Well, I guess I haven't any further excuse not to put in those potatoes. Glad you're home, you big good-for-nothing.
Thanks, Mother.
Oh, David.
Here, darling. Blow.
I don't need to blow.
You don't?
I never blow.
You don't?
I never cry either.
No?
I'm just so happy to see you, that's all.
Me too.
Say, you look all right.
I am all right.
You sure?
Sure. Come on with me while I wash up.
You're kind of sooty.
I feel sooty.
Oh, David, you have no idea how awful it is to wait and wait and... Say, where were you? Now that I think of it, I'm mad.
I was caught in the subway tie-up. I don't care how mad you got, I'm not going back.
Why didn't you phone?
How could I?
With a nickel?
Oh, you goop, there's no phone on a subway
But
train.
in the station there must have been one.
That's just it. I couldn't get to a station. The train was stuck between 63rd and 64th Street.
You could have gotten killed. David, was it an accident?
Nope, just stuck.
Oh.
Hey, don't sound so disappointed.
I could wring your neck. All that worrying for nothing.
How do you think I felt?
What do you mean?
There, stuck between 63rd and 64th Streets, knowing I had two worrisome females pacing the floor at home.
Anyway, Mama didn't pace the floor. She dropped stitches. David, you worried about us worrying?
Of course I did. I knew you'd be imagining all sorts of terrible things had happened.
You knew right, all right.
Don't you know, darling? I'm always going to come home to you.
Are you, David?
Whenever it's up to me.
Oh.
Do you believe that now?
When I'm with you, David, I believe it, but when I'm alone, it's not so easy.
That's when you've got to try the hardest.
But, David, wouldn't you have worried about me, I mean?
You're happy tootin' I'd have worried, like anything.
You would have?
And just see to it, young lady, that you telephone.
But...
No buts about it. You telephone no matter where you're stuck, you hear me?
Yes, darling, I hear you.
Now.
All story material used in this broadcast of Claudia was under the supervision of Rose Franken and William Brown Maloney. Now that there's more Coca-Cola, there's enough Coke for the family, even with guests coming to supper. There's enough to go round even after Junior has treated his pals in the afternoon. Yes, there's more Coke now, enough so you can have it on hand like old times. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now, this is Joe King saying au revoir, and remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken, brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
10 minutes after 9, that moving man's late.
Moving men are always late. It's one of their principles never to let the person who's moving know whether they're going to arrive or not.
But they do arrive.
12 minutes late. They're always 12 minutes late.
Oh, I'm so nervous. I've never moved into my own apartment before.
Neither did I till I had one. You know what you're going to take with you?
Oh, certainly. I made a list of everything.
Oh, don't forget those 4 barrels of wedding presents in the hall.
4 barrels and 1 cereal box. There wasn't room for Aunt Louisa's present in the barrels. I had to pack it separately. Oh, there's the moving man now. He's only 11 minutes late. That makes him 1 minute early.
I got everything out of that room, lady. Not much space left in the van.
Oh, dear. Will you have room for the 4 barrels in the hall?
Lady, it's a small van. When you called up yesterday, you said you had just a few pieces, so the boss sent me down alone in the small van. There's no room for them 4 barrels. I practically moved the whole house by myself.
But our wedding presents are in those 4 barrels.
Can't make it this trip, lady. I'll pick 'em up Monday. And you didn't have it packed so good either. You had 2 silver pots in a cereal box. Could have got dented. I put in a wooden box instead.
Oh, thank you. That was Aunt Louisa's present. They're soup tureens, not pots.
Look like pots.
Don't let Aunt Louisa hear you say that.
Is she thinking of moving too? Anyway, there wasn't no room for it. You had that big leather chair, that big drawing table, and the file cabinet. It's a small van. There's no room for the wedding presents.
Good.
You better not let Aunt Louisa hear you say that.
Truck loaded?
You couldn't get a dime in unless you stood it on end.
Are you in a big rush?
Well, I'd like to get this job over with, Mr. Why?
I'd like to move some furniture around in here. Think you could help me for $2?
Well, I wasn't in too big a hurry. What'd you want to move?
Well, first a bed from one room to the other, then a couple of chairs and a chest of drawers.
All right, let's get started.
This way, I've got the bed to be taken apart.
Say, David, do you remember the way Mama's room was so we can put it back like it was?
Just about. You can help me where I fall down, Claudia. Where is she, anyway?
She went downstairs. She said she had to get something. She'll be right back.
Maybe we can fix up the room like she had it before she gets back.
Mister, we won't get anything fixed unless we get started. Where do you want this stuff to go?
Next room. Here, this end's ready. Ready?
Ready.
Follow me.
Look, I gotta follow you if I'm carrying the other end of the headboard.
Is it very heavy, David?
No, it is, lady. Watch out, you don't scratch on the door.
Oh, that's all right. We can fix it with some furniture polish.
Scratch my thumb, too. We can put it down here.
Oh.
I can get the footboard, and you can get the 2 sides.
All right.
Won't Mother be thrilled to see her room back the way it was?
She'll be able to get a good night's rest again. Sleep in her own bed instead of on a couch. Excited about moving?
Didn't you notice I could hardly eat breakfast? Here, let me give you a hand.
No, I can do it myself. What do you mean you could hardly eat breakfast? I saw you eating 2 eggs and bacon.
Oh, that was just habit. I mean, I didn't feel like eating. Hey, watch the door, David.
I guess you'll have to use furniture polish on the footboard, too, lady.
Well, they match now.
Hold the footboard up straight, Claudia. I'll hold the headboard, and you can put in the sides, okay?
All right.
All right.
There. That's what's in. Look, hold that thing up straighter, lady.
This one?
Yeah, thanks. Now, the other one. In a little, mister.
Okay.
The end.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Let go.
Gosh, a bed without springs and a mattress certainly looks like a skeleton, doesn't it, David?
And we'll put some flesh on it. Come on, let's get the springs.
Yeah, we can get the mattress and spring one trip. I'll show you how.
David, tell me about the place we're moving into.
I told you about it. Kitchen, living room, bedroom, and the room I'm going to fix up with my drawing table and file.
No, I mean the way it's furnished.
Oh, it's very nice, very nice.
With the mattress on top of the spring, we can make it through the door just by tipping a little. Now, watch.
I see. You go first this time.
I got nothing to scratch now.
David, the paint scraped off the door.
Mister, you'll never make a moving man. Now, set it down square now. That's it.
I'll make the bed while you two are bringing the chairs.
Which one, lady? I ain't been here before.
Oh, the maroon one from the living room. And the blue one from the other bedroom, too.
I'll get the one from the other bedroom, mister. You've been having trouble with the door.
Fair enough.
And don't carry it. Push it, David.
One maroon chair coming up.
Say, David, think we ought to bring the blue chair in from the living room instead of the maroon one?
The maroon chair is nearly there, and I think we should leave it the way it was. Where do you want it?
Oh, put it next to the window. David, what kind of carpets they have in our new apartment?
Nice. There. That right?
Mm-hmm. Mama likes to sit there and look out at the street. Really, David, a person would think you'd never even seen the apartment we're going to move into.
I did, but I paid absolutely no attention to minor details.
Minor details. You walk on a carpet every day.
Lady, I can't keep holding this chair. Where should I put it?
Oh, I didn't hear you come in.
It's because I didn't scrape the door. Well, where should I put the chair, lady?
Put it this side of the bed, right there.
Thanks. Anything else?
Yeah, the chest of drawers in the other room.
Gotcha.
Straighten out that side of the bedspread, David. Oh, I hope there are enough pots and pans there. If there aren't, we can borrow some from Mama.
Borrow some what?
Pots and pans. You came back too soon.
I'm sorry. If I knew that you two wanted to be alone, I'd have stayed away longer.
No, I mean we're trying to put your room back the way it was before we moved in. We messed everything up for you.
Well, thank you, both of you. The room looks almost the way it was.
Chest of drawers is coming in.
It's in, lady. Where's it go?
Now put it over against the wall.
Here?
A little further to the right.
That's right.
All set now, lady?
Yep, I guess that's all. Everything's back the way it was, Mama, David, and I'll be going now.
Well, thanks for putting things in order, David. I'll miss you, too. I ran downstairs for a present to start you off in your new home.
Present? What is it, Mama?
Nothing much. Same thing my mother gave me when I was first married. A pound of flour and a pound of sugar.
Oh, a nice thought, Mrs. Brown. They knew how to say things gracefully in those days.
Well, you better be getting along. I'll finish straightening up around here.
You're coming with us, isn't she, David?
Wouldn't be legal without you, Mrs. Brown.
No, children. I think you should go into your own home for the first time by yourself.
I won't budge from here unless you come along.
Nor I.
Well, you better come. I gotta get back to the warehouse sometime.
Well, all right. Just so that you can get back to the warehouse.
The nice part about living on the second floor is that if you don't feel like using the elevator, you can walk up.
I'd rather use the elevator, thank you. Makes me feel very important, even if it only is for one floor. Isn't this exciting, David? It's just like cutting open a birthday cake with presents baked inside.
Here's our door. And the lock works perfectly.
So does mine at home now, thank you.
May I carry you over the threshold, Mrs. Naughton?
No, David, not here.
Not here. Where then?
When we get our own apartment with our own furniture and everything, I'll feel differently about it.
Oh.
Did it hurt your feelings? I didn't mean to, David, but that's where I feel. If you want to...
No, I understand. Well, Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Naughton, aren't you even curious the way to see the Naughton residence looks?
I'm dying of curiosity.
Well, there's only one way of finding out.
It's by going in, lady. These valises are getting heavy.
It's rather dark here, isn't it, David?
I'll turn on the lights.
Still dark.
Where does the window face, David?
Why, looking out that window, you get a lovely view of... I guess it's the apartment on the second floor of the building next door.
Well,
Disappointed?
It isn't the way I thought it would be, David.
I'm sorry.
Nonsense. It's just what you two need, a place of your own.
The furniture's so old-fashioned, those oriental rugs and everything. Oh, David, can't we go back and stay with Mama?
You certainly cannot. I didn't invite you.
Where does this thing go, mister?
Oh, my drafting table. The room at the end of the hall, please.
Gotcha.
Now, you two ladies care to see the rest of the apartment?
Maybe the kitchen's nice.
The kitchen? Right this way. There you are, the kitchen.
It's very small, isn't it, David?
Well, we won't do much cooking.
Very nice. Just right for two. Let's see if he left you silverware in China. There's your silverware. All the silver plates worn off. What kind of a man is this Mr. Tucker of yours?
Bachelor.
Take a look in that closet, Claudia. Any china there?
Uh-huh.
Well, at least that's all right.
Nice stove, refrigerator.
Faucet leaks.
I will fix it.
Everything's out of the van, mister. When you want me to come back with those barrels?
What barrel?
Oh, the wedding presents. We left them at your house. There's no room in the van.
It was a very small van.
Say, Mama, would you like to keep the presents and put them all around the room to remind you of us till we get our own apartment?
I would not. Young man, come back to my house and pick up those barrels as soon as you can.
Pick 'em up on Monday, lady. Good luck, mister.
Thanks. Thanks for helping me out.
Yeah, gotcha. So long.
Wait a minute. I'll go with you to the door. How much do I owe you for that
Mama, am I going crazy, or is this the worst place I've ever seen?
Well, it's not so very good, Claudia.
But you said to David
I
that
know,
it was so...
but now look. You've got to understand this. David's a man, your husband. He's done something that's rather hard to do now. He's found an apartment, a place where you two can live a life of your own. He's proud of having found this place, and maybe it's blinded him a little to its faults. But just as he can't see them, for his sake, you shouldn't want to see them. Do you understand, Claudia?
No matter what the rest of the apartment looks like, I'm going to say I love it.
Now, for the rest of the house. The bedroom, right this way.
I hope it's nicer than the rest of the apartment.
All right. Here you are. Judge for yourself.
David, it's lovely. Why, you wouldn't believe the same person had anything to do with the living room.
Maybe he just likes sleeping, not living.
And the beds are so soft and covered with this nice worn material.
I didn't know you liked worn material.
I'm crazy over it. Ask Mama. Aren't I, Mama?
Is she?
That's what she said.
Now, who can that be? No one has our number, not even me.
Only one way to find out. Probably Tucker.
Tell him Tucker doesn't live here anymore.
Yes? Oh, hello, Roger.
Roger?
It's Roger, yeah.
Oh,
We're all moved in, Roger. No, Mrs. Brown likes it, but Claudia doesn't.
I do, too.
Well, I don't care anyway. Mrs. Brown is the important one of the family.
Well,
I really married Claudia to be near her.
let me speak.
Hey, don't grab.
Roger, how are you? Listen, don't listen to anything David says. I'm in love with this place. It's so... It's so...
Quaint.
Quaint, yes. Of course I like it. It's just like home, only... Well, Mama's got a view, and it's lighter and higher up, and it's furnished better, but... How's it like home? Well, Mama's got 4 rooms, too.
Claudia, Roger's going to think you're a goop. Let me speak.
Wait a minute. Mama wants to speak to you. Here, Mama.
Roger, I just want to say thanks. Seems my daughter's too ill-mannered to think of things like that.
I am not. I'm just too excited.
You just apologize. What? Yes, I'll tell him. Goodbye, Roger.
Tell us what?
Roger wishes both of you luck in the new apartment.
Good old Roger. He told me not to bother about coming back to the office this afternoon.
Good. Then we can get used to the rooms together.
Will it take an awful lot of getting used to, Claudia?
Not as long as you're around, David. I won't look at the furniture.
Okay. I won't look at the rugs.
And I won't be here to look at you two looking at each other. I've seen the place, put the seal of approval on it, and now goodbye.
Thanks for the seal of approval, Mama.
And thanks for the use of your daughter, Mrs. Brown.
Feel free to drop in on the Naughton residence any time, Mama.
I will. I'm leaving my gloves here so I can come back and say I forgot them. Goodbye, you two, and good luck.
Goodbye, Mama.
Goodbye, Mrs. Brown.
Now that there's more Coke available, make sure you have a good supply in your refrigerator all the time. Keep a few extra bottles of Coke on hand so you'll always have refreshment ready and waiting. And don't forget to enjoy the pause that refreshes with ice-cold Coca-Cola at the familiar red cooler when you're out marketing. Shop refreshed. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again Monday at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir, and remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes.